I met a Canadian girl from Uganda while I was still in Uganda. And she told me about this beautiful country called Canada.
Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Ben, and I'm a resource to migrants and newcomers to Canada. And if you're a Canadian, welcome. This might give you opportunity to see Canada from a different lens. In today's video, I'll be hosting one of my good friends to talk a little bit about his experience settling in Canada. And don't forget to watch this video until the end, where he'll be talking about some of the tips that can help you to settle well from his personal experience. Enjoy.
Uganda is home. I'm born from the capital, Kampala. Why Alberta, of all places? And lots of people ask me that. And I tell them it wasn't really my making. I had no idea, but it was, love brought me here. My wife, I met a Canadian girl from Uganda while I was still in Uganda. And she told me about this beautiful country called Canada. I'd known about Canada because we learned about Canada in school, but I never really ever imagined that I would ever end up here. So when I met this girl, 2009, and she told me about Canada, and I was kind of convinced to come. I wanted to come, and I ended up here. In so many ways, yes. If she had only explained to me how cold it actually gets. She left out one of the most critical parts of the whole package, and she just never prepared me for how cold it actually gets here. So in terms of everything else, the people, the culture, I think Canadians are the easiest people to get along with. I've traveled a little bit to the States for work again, and I find Canadians are totally different. And yes, generally, people here and the country and everything in general, healthcare, all the systems that we have in place, I was actually impressed. Yes, biggest culture shocks. There's quite a few. Yeah, food. Like if you know where I come from, we Africans, we meet around the dinner table. That's how we start a conversation. That's how we get along as a people, as a culture. So, biggest shock for me was not finding my favorite meals here, and having to adjust to eating. You guys, Canadian culture, they love bread. They love everything is in bread. Everything is in sandwiches, and I was never used to eating that kind of stuff. So my first time going out, and they're telling me, "Oh, we're going to McDonald's, and they're gonna get me like a burger," and I'm like, "Okay." It was like, "Okay, what the heck is that?" So I get a burger. I look at it. I'm like, "There's no way I'm gonna eat this because I do not eat meat and bread." So I'm looking there and I'm looking at this and I'm like, "There's no way I'm gonna eat this." So that's a culture shock. Food was a big one, and then the other thing too that I found was, you're gonna love this. So I start to work in the city, and I get on the bus, and in the morning I get to the bus. I greet everybody. Like each time I get there, I say to everybody that was sitting there, "Good morning, how are you?" And people look at me like, "What is going on?" Well, that's how we are, and we used to. There's no one meet a neighbor, anybody along the way, and I don't say hi to them. So I figured it's the same thing we do. Then sometimes, you get there and you're shocked that people are actually not talking to you. And then I figured, you get on the bus and your neighbor gets a phone, and they're basically just flipping through their phones, regardless of who is seated next to them. And to me, that was a bit of a problem. It took me forever to get used to. But now they got used to me, and they in fact began asking me, because, where you come from? And I told them that I was from Uganda, and I'd only just been here a couple of weeks, and they were intrigued. So I began talking about Africa and why we do the things that we do them, because it was sort of a big shock. Here, everybody likes to be in their little bubble. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna make excuses for getting into your bubble. All I'm saying is I'm just saying good morning to you, and we became friends. So that was a big shock for me, that people here are a little aloof of each other. Everybody does their own thing. Yeah, and the other one, the summer. you get out to the beaches here. There's not a whole lot of them, but man, everybody puts on the skimpiest of them shorts and everything. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So that was a bit of a shock for me, especially, younger people, that's fine. But the older people, I remember seeing one lady, she was actually at a crosswalk, and she's like, I think she was like in probably 80s, and she has the shortest things on. And I'm looking at this lady, I turn around, and literally her backside is just flowing through her, and I was like, you're too old to be putting on shorts. So that was a bit of a shock to me, that people are freer and they just don't care, they just get along. So to me, getting into or wrapping my head around that actually people can dress the way they do in the summer was a bit of a shock to me. But I now understand why, because in the winter, everybody's all covered up. Pants here, I rarely see anybody putting on a skirt. So that's how I sort of got into it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is Canada, I guess. So to me, yes, that was one of those things that shocked me. Other things, the other shock to me, and this is a major one, for some of anybody that comes here, when I moved here, Alberta was in some sort of a job boom. So I get here and there's literally, we are hiring signs literally every corner. I'd never seen that. So I was shocked. Then all of a sudden I get everybody calling me to inquire if I need a job, because obviously there's the different job sites that you go to. And then everybody calling me back. Where I come from, it is who you know that gets you through the door to get a job. So I come here where they literally are begging you to come get a job. So that was one of those things that I looked at and I said, you know what? This is way too different from what I'm used to. So that was a big one for me. And then the respect at the workplace when you get a job. Everybody is taught to respect the other person regardless of color, regardless of language, regardless of race and things like that. And to me, that was big, again, and another shock. I'm like, that's intriguing. That I worked a bit in the government, and there was never a day that I actually felt like I'm Black. And that won my respect for Canada as a country, because they've put a lot of emphasis into diversity, because they realize that everybody, I believe, is here from a certain place, and here there's a lot of diversity. They've accepted that this is where the world is at the moment. We're all a melting pot, and that's one thing I found in Canada that I thought, you know what, this is actually pretty good. So I always felt protected. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I can think of. I won't get into, but yeah. It is the idea that I can actually come to the country as an immigrant and be able to start a life here without the chaos that some of us are coming from. Having, again, being from Africa, growing up around the city and growing up around some tough situations and seeing things and as a youngster and as an adult where death and bodies can literally be strewn all over the street, and it's a common theme. And then you come to Canada, where you hardly ever hear guns ring out or people killed by the street side. It's not an occurrence. Seeing just the peace and the tranquil that really prevails around the everyday. Like I'll leave my vehicle sometimes unlocked, and I don't have a lot of people breaking into my house or my vehicle all the time. Nobody's ever come and broken into my house. I am not saying that it's not there. I mean, there'll be instances, as with every place that we go to. But by and large, to me, just I guess the idea that I can actually go to bed and it's a peaceful night, calm morning, without having to worry about somebody got shot, so-and-so is dead, there's all this stuff going on. The Canadians respect people. The police will arrest you. I mean, they will stop you pull you on the side. They've pulled me. And just the idea that they're able to talk to you like another human being without you feeling like I don't need to bribe them because we do all that, a lot of that in Uganda. We bribe. I'll bribe you. A cop gets me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you, we call it kitu kidogo. So give me a little something. The cop lets you go. In Canada, a cop gets you, I'll talk to you. Hey, this is what's going on. This is why I pulled you back. They actually explain to you what's going on. And then they will let you go. So that's one of those things that I found here. If it's a ticket and it's worth, the crime and whatever I've done, the infraction is worthy of a ticket, they will give it to me. And they will tell you where to go to pay. Or if you want to contest it, they will also tell you where to go. So that part about the country has just been an unbelievable experience for me. And I tell everybody when, back home, when I tell them, I'm like, man, I wish we had just a bit of what I see here. The idea that a kid can be brought up in an environment where there's hustle here, but it's the good hustle. Nobody's really like out on your neck or running. Nobody's running the streets. It's election time, then we're taking off. I mean, here it's ridiculous. Like election time, you go in, walk into the election booth and walk away. It's like nothing has happened. Yet in Uganda, elections are characterized by turmoil, bullets, and lots of things that go on. So here it's the total opposite. Like I've gone and cast my ballot, walked out, cast my vote, walked out, and it's like, oh, then I sit home, wait on TV for whatever the results are. Sometimes I've been happy, sometimes my choice didn't get through, and we just basically continue and count on for the next 4 or 5 years. So that's beautiful. Oh my goodness, you don't want to know. What I miss most about home. And that's one of the things that, home is where the heart is. And to me, I've established my life here. My wife and kids are all here. But I miss home like crazy. One of the things that I miss, to me, I'm very relational. We Africans are very relational. And in Canada, because people are pretty closed off. We don't really do a lot of interactions like families, and everybody has their little home, and that's your little space. But in Africa, we are very communal people. So one of the things I miss is the community, and it's a big one for me. Besides the food and everything, but the community. Just for me to be able to close my door, walk out down the street, find a neighbor, strike a conversation. How are you guys doing? What's going on? I know my neighbors usually would know more about me just as I know about them. It's how we work. There's that little thing of, okay, we count on each other, basically. If you're my neighbor, you can walk into my house, say you don't have, say salt. You go home, it's kind of late, you just want to fix a quick meal. And then you look around, oh, I ran out of oil, I ran out of salt. You know what, in Africa, I'm gonna walk to my neighbor and, hey, I need salt, I need this. And they don't even ask you like it's weird. But that's how we relate. We are very together in everything that we do. If it's a death in the family, you see thousands of people coming. Like a death can have probably about 1,000, 1,500 people all coming up. You walk to a Canadian funeral and there's 10 people there. And to me, that was, add that to one of my culture shocks here. So that's one of those things that I miss. I miss the community, and I miss sometimes the language. So just to be able to express myself more in the language, the dialect that everybody understands. Listening to the news and just the normal stories. And the big one too is the friends that you grow up with. You move to a country like this and you literally move by yourself. I moved here without my siblings and I'm here by myself. So sometimes you just want a bounce of ideas, several things, or, when you're just thinking and trying to do things, you miss just the cushion of knowing I have my buddy here, I have my brother here, I can call on so-and-so. If I don't have this, I can just call somebody to come and drop up something for me. In North America, you're not gonna depend on a lot of people to come and do little favors for you. Yet at home, we literally live in a life where people do small favors for them. And the funny thing is we don't have a lot. Literally, we don't. But somehow, there's a lot of we are bound together by just the commonality that we all don't have so much, but what the little bits that we have, we get to exchange. If you want something for me and I have it, you're gonna come home and I'll get it. If I'm doing a project and I have what I need, you literally can just walk into my house and grab it, go use that. So when you have grown up around that, it's so hard to get away from. And the only way that to cope, what I've done to cope with this is I'm constantly on WhatsApp and constantly calling some of my old alumni, from my former school, just to be able to keep in touch. But you just don't realize how much you're actually going to miss home until you've been away. Then all of a sudden, life becomes real to you that, hey, you are here on your own. You got to figure out this world by your own. When I came here, I didn't have nobody else to show me the ropes. In Africa, you practically have friends that have probably done something and they can't wait to share something, and we talk. In North America, unfortunately, you don't have that luxury, and so you miss home, and I miss Uganda like crazy. That's one of the things that I miss, man. And the other thing, which is funny, but waking up to the sound of birds singing. I don't get to have that here. And then that's where I was, waking up to the sound of birds singing, waking up to roosters. That was, man, that's what makes Africa unique. With all its problems, there's always the gold in the rough, and that's one of those. I tell you what, the pace is still like the pace by which the country goes. As much as I feel like I've kind of caught up, but sometimes I found myself lacking, because here you have an idea. If you do not execute it, if you do not set up to go ahead and get it, somebody else is already just ready to grab it. I'm gonna give you an example. I remember 2011 when I moved here. I told my wife, I said, you know what? I see there's lots of seniors in our backyard, in Spruce Grove. And I said, what would you think if we started some sort of a shopping basket for them? So what we'd do is I come up with a website. I'll go design a website and be able to avail what's available, or be able to just go do their grocery shopping, go to Walmart, go to Target, whatever it is, go do their groceries. And then when we come, we pay them, and we drop off the groceries, they pay us our money. And my wife doesn't think the way I do, but so we didn't do it. Fast forward now, that's exactly what you see literally everywhere. There's all these businesses that are coming up, and I'm saying, you know what, this is exactly what I had in mind 10 years ago. But I wasn't as fast enough or swift enough in my execution that the whole thing stayed in my mind. So what I'm learning right now is you gotta come to the pace of where the world is. And I no longer think as an African, but it's been a slow sort of, what do you call it? Some sort of a slow pace. It's slow evolution, mind, knowing how the world thinks and the people think, and just to be able to think like them. I've been largely successful since I joined the workforce here, because again, I know it's the only way I'm gonna be able to keep up. The bills could kill you. Add that to the eighth wonders of the world, Canadian bills. That could be another wonder. So yeah, I've been adjusting to the pace. Some people say, well, how have you adjusted to the cold? It's just cold. That I had to prepare my mind. That I've been here now, it's one of those things that I've basically mentally prepared for. I know that, hey, anywhere from around October, it can start snowing. It can be cold. So then in my mind, I'm already ready for that. But the other things that you can never prepare for was always the pace at which things come at you, the demands and the bills. Literally, it's like, it almost looks like a year has been collapsed into 6 months. Because you literally look at it like, we've only just ended this year, and then here we are, this is 2021 already. So like, where did 2020 go? But it's all coming, I'm beginning to think that it's probably coming from the idea that the country is so fast, the bills roll around so fast, kids in school and all this kind of thing, that you never ever stop to catch a breath. By the time you're done, you're into the next day, or it's just right about the time to go to bed. So you literally, your life is everywhere. You get it. Yeah. If I'm planning my journey before I come here, whoever is, if you're an immigrant or somebody that has intentions of coming here, I always will advise, do your research, do your homework, know where you're going, know where you're coming, know about the, one thing is, how bad is the weather. Some people have come here and ended up in the Northwest Territories. That's not a place for an African man to be, none. So it's not. And then, so you basically have to do your homework, read about it, do your research. Right now, we have Google, we have resources like YouTube. We'll find out videos. There's lots of stuff that is actually going to help you to educate you before you go. And then, if you have somebody that's bringing into the country, ask them to be honest. Ask general questions, but very specific to who you are as a person. What are your preferences? Okay, what do you prefer to do? Do you like it warm? Do you like it colder? Do you like certain things? If you're the kind that likes to be in a big metropolis, like then that would probably be Toronto. If you're some of us who just want to come and find a peaceful place to work and raise a family, then okay, what's the best place to raise a family? Do I want to be in the city? Do I want to be in the live away from the city? And the other critical thing too, where if you're an immigrant intending to come to Canada, one, always make sure you have your academic credentials ready with you, because many times you're going to make reference to those, and they're going to be required if you want to enroll into an institution, one of those institutions here. So you have to have your academics in order, and then when you come here, again, I said do your homework. If you want to go to different universities that do some things, find out what province in Canada has a university that offers ABC. So then when you land here, you're not just trying to figure things out. But you've already done your homework, so you know. But the other thing that you have to, in my mind, the other thing that I find very important is, if you have family, it's very important. But then know a bit about what they do too. Because some of us have gotten, you're an immigrant, you've come into the country, but you ended up with the wrong type. You ended up in the wrong, hanging out with the wrong tribe, with the wrong group. Because you had no idea, you were simply brought in. And that's how we end up with a lot of young people, black people in prison. When you go to the city here, our city prison jails are full of black people that have come here. They were expecting things would all be falling off trees, money would be falling off trees. It doesn't happen that way. And then they come here and they're not willing to exert themselves. So if you're not going to apply yourself in a culture like this, this is not a place for wimps. You are coming here to work. You're coming here, and it does pay. If you know how to work and you're ready to work, there's opportunities for everybody. And the other thing too, if you're an immigrant coming in here, you have to come here with the mindset of, I'm gonna do everything as long as it's lawful. I'm gonna do that if it's gonna pay the bills. If it's gonna bring the bacon home, I'm gonna do it. Some of us I have a professional job, but on the side, I remember where I started. I was not an installator, but I ended up being an installator. I failed, broke my arm. I used to be a guy that sits in offices and writes code and designs things on the internet. Then when I moved here, 3 weeks in, I just wanted to work right away. But I had the right people around me, support to sort of show me where to go. So support is key. Who is going to support you? Recently, I'm going to give you an example. So recently there's a guy, he came here as a refugee and he's from Uganda. And one guy that I know found him. He knows me, so he said, hey, I met this guy. He's Ugandan, and he's here doing security. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, IT security, because I'm in IT. And then when I spoke to him, he said, no, I sit at the casino. And I said, oh, okay, call that Securicall. Because in Uganda, there's a company that's called Securicall. That's what they do. They sit there with a gun, a big gun, and that's the job. But I said to him, I advised him, you have come in here, and my advice to you is not to make that your last stop. That is only going to be your stepping stone to the next big thing. Right now, the onus is on you to begin carving out a future for you. The country, but the safety and the opportunities the country gives you are there for the taking, but you have to be the one to walk into these opportunities. They're not going to come to you. Begin to discover what you want to do, find a way to go study for that. I wanted IT, I knew where NATE was, and I went to that. I said, I'm going to go to NATE and I'm going to learn more about this. I graduated from NATE and I'm, with a bachelor's. So you have to come here and not make whatever you get. Yes, I know sometimes you come here and make a little bit of money and it almost looks good, but always strive to have something to fall back on many more years after, when your body cannot do the type of manual stuff that you're doing at the moment. They might pay well, but when you begin to think, okay, where am I going to be 10 to 20 years from now? Is my body still going to be able to do what I'm doing right now? If not, then that's when you begin to plan for that. So planning is key of what you want to do. So you come here, you have to be ready to adjust. And also, the other thing North America gives you is the opportunity to switch careers. You do not have to be static in one thing. This is what I've done and that's all I know. And it doesn't also matter what age. When you come here, you could be in your 50s. You can still come here and make a total tilt into something different. Why? Because it is here. The other thing that is very vital as an immigrant, I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this in depth at some point, is the resources that are available to help you. You have to know. You have to know what's available to me as a newcomer to Canada, and how can I take opportunity of these, resources. So that's pretty much what I can think of. They can be a long laundry list of things that I can think of, but at the moment, that's pretty much where I feel people need to zero in and just be prepared.
Wow, that was a lot of good information. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because that motivates me to make more videos like this. And if you have any question, just leave a comment below. I'm always happy to engage with you guys. Until then, my friend, keep moving forward.